Hey everybody, Shadow Phoenix here. Welcome back to Planet Coaster and here to Crystal Gardens Park. I hope everybody is having a great Thursday. The plan for today is we are actually going to go all the way to the back of the park here to what you can see is the most prominent thing in the back here. And that's the D.H. Morgan Hypercoaster that we made in the last episode. So in this episode, we are going to kind of work on the station. So if you remember correctly, I had this kind of weirdly shaped station that was just kind of there before. It was one that I did over on the other side of the park. You guys haven't really seen it yet, but I have an arrow launched coaster, launched looper. And I built this station to kind of go on top of that, but I wasn't happy with it. It just wasn't fitting the actual coaster. I felt like it would be something more suited to, I don't know, a coaster that would be closer to the ground, I suppose. So when I was building this one, I thought, you know what, I want to use that because, and this is something else I noticed. In the last episode, I kept talking about how I wanted to have an 80s feel, but the hypercoasters didn't come around until the 90s. So I guess it's more of a 90s feel that we're kind of going to go for, and that is the general idea today. So as you can see, I've been working a little bit with the coaster. We've got the colors pretty much the way I want. I really like this kind of orangey yellow. The cars being blue and white, I really like that too. And that's kind of the general design that I'm kind of going for. The station itself, though, is going to be a little different. So, I know for a fact, here's what we're going to do. I'm kind of going to build this a little bit in real time with, you know, kind of cuts and stuff. And that's kind of what we're going to do. So, I guess I'm hoping that I can actually teach some people out there how to actually build in the game itself. So let's go ahead and we're going to pause the game. I do that by hitting P. And then we're going to bring back the UI so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. We're going to grab the station and click on the grid button there for the grid on the station. And then we are going to go over here to roofs. And I want the angled roofs, and we're going to go all the way down here to the bottom because I want a 2-meter sloped roof. This one right here would do. Now, as you can see, where I went and selected the station first, it's on the grid, and that's exactly what I want. So I know that this is, I already knew this beforehand, but I'm just showing you guys. So as you can see, we know that this is 3 things apart right there. So we're going to click on the settings over here once we're in the build mode, and we're going to make this grid size. We could go half on that, like 7 feet is what I use. If you guys use meters, I don't know what that is. And the grid height we're going to put all the way down. But basically your grid size is going to be half. And we're going to take and see, if you do this, you will notice that you have the ability to make an angled roof like that. So it's using 4 roof pieces, and that's what we're going to do. Now, I'm not going to build from this. And the reason for that is because this actually isn't on the world grid. And if we try to build something off the world grid, we're going to have some trouble later. So I'm hoping that, and the 3D gizmo is still finicky no matter what we do. So I'm just going to delete those real quick. And instead, I'm just going to go like over here in this little space that we have here, right? And let me get off of T mode because I'm stuck in that. Okay. And what we're going to do is, with this blank space that we have here, I'm going to go back to buildings. I'm going to go over here to roofs, and I'm going to go into, we're going to select the same roof again, and it should automatically put it on the world grid. So as soon as I bring this out, this is the world grid. So by doing this, I'm going to place that down, right? And then we're going to go in here, and we're going to do the same thing. Grid height, I'm going to take everything down to the bottom, put half on that. Okay. And we know that we want our roof to be this angle, right? Okay, so grab that, duplicate it, bring it over, and bring it over again. There. Alright, so that's our roof. That's what we're going to start with right there, okay? So that's our basic shape that we're going to work from. Now we're going to go over to scenery, and here is how I'm going to design this roof, because a lot of people ask me how I did it when I was streaming and stuff. So we are going to go into basic shapes, flat. We're going to grab the largest rectangle that there is, right? Okay, and we're going to put it right on there. So if you go over here, if you look under your settings over here, let me expand this a little bit. you will see a line of surface. Make sure that's clicked on. And we're going to align this with the roof. Right there, right? Perfect. Okay. And then we're going to take it and we're going to move it down into the roof itself. Right. Okay. Now we're going to grab the largest flat triangle piece, the triangle 5 extra large. And you will see that, well, actually, here, let me move this up a little bit so that we have some space to work with. There we go. Because I want to be all the way down here at the bottom. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to build, let's see, we're going to go click on the building again. You can click over here to edit building, but I just hit R because I know the shortcut. All right, and we want to go back to scenery, and we want to go back down here to the largest triangle there is. And I'm just going, this is how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to put it down how it is, right? So I'm not going to change the angle of it. I'm not going to change the direction of it. I'm just going to put it right there. I'm going to hit X to go into advanced move. And I'm going to move over here to this, right to the edge. We're going to move it down. We're going to make it basically flush with this right here. Alright, that looks pretty flush to me. There might be an easier way to do this. You might be able to click on the actual shape itself, hit Control X to duplicate, and then hit the triangle. And yeah, that actually works. So there we actually still have it on the angle that we want. And we'll just move it down here to the bottom. Doesn't look like it's flush though. That's because this is Frontier's fault. The basic shapes are not always the same thing. So either way you go about it here, doesn't matter. And we're going to move it back a little bit, try to get rid of that line. Just a little bit right there. And then move it down because we want this to be flush with what you see down there in the bottom. Or at least close to it, because we're probably going to come back to that in a minute. Alright, so now that we have that, now you can kind of see it starting to take shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to start moving up towards the top. And we're just going to take this, move it over here to the edge, so that they connect right there. That way you can kind of see it connecting. It's okay if you put it a little further back, it's fine. It doesn't have to be specific. And we're going to move it up a little bit and try to get it flush. And we're going to do this one more time using this particular triangle. And I don't know, we may want to... Yeah, I think that's going to be the last triangle we use there. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we don't go over a certain space up here on top. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over to the buildings. We're going to go to the roof section. And we're going to go down and we're going to select the square tile roof ridge 4 meter, right? Okay. Make sure your grid size and all of this is back down to as small as possible. And we're going to put that right on top of the roof right there. Like that. Okay. And we're going to build it out. It shouldn't come any further out than that, but we're going to go one more just in case. Alright. So as you can see, these 3 triangle pieces, so far, they're good. They're not going over our limit. So we don't want them to go into the other side. So now we're going to take this. We're going to select this last triangle right here. We're going to hit Control X. We're going to go back to scenery. It takes a little bit to load. This park has over 100,000 pieces in it. We're going to choose the next smallest triangle. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to go all the way to the edge. Make sure they're kind of touching. We're probably going to need a next smaller triangle. Yeah, see how that goes over the edge right there? That's not going to work for us. So let's going to go a little smaller. So bring it back. Line them up so that they're on the edge. All right, that's great right there. Okay. And then we're going to have to go to the next smallest triangle down again for this next piece. Kind of see it starting to take its shape to what we want. And hopefully this teaches some of you guys out there who are, you know, kind of beginning in Planet Coaster, or you want to see some more advanced techniques, building techniques, instead of just building square buildings and, you know, that are, you know, a little dull and lifeless, honestly. We want to try to add a little bit of life to it. So we're going to go to the next smallest triangle once again. And we're probably going to use 2 of these. And make sure that's lined up. It is. Okay. Now I'm hoping by using the world grid that the 3D gizmo doesn't mess up on me and cause me to have a whole lot more work than what I would prefer. Alright, so now we're on this last little piece right here, and I don't know how that's going to work. I don't think we're going to be able to get a smaller piece in there, but we are going to try. So we're going to do one more right there. And I'm pretty sure it's going to go over the limit, but that's okay. We're actually going to move it back a little bit into this and bring it down. Just basically make sure it's not sticking out from the other side a lot. See that right there? That's probably fine, but we can always adjust that later on. Alright, so now that I have all of those, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of these pieces, including the little small one that we just placed right there. I want to deselect the roof though, because we don't want that roof piece. And we're going to choose the color we want. And the color I want, it's like a teal green, which I really like, but we're going to make it darker. So we're going to go into the blender, color swatch, and this way we can pick any color we want. We're going to make it almost a very, very black, almost, but it's almost a blue too. So a little bit of blue, but very, very dark. Alright, and with that, we should be good. Okay, so we're going to, we don't need that piece of roof now, so we're going to take that off. And we're actually going to take this piece right here, we're going to move this one down, and we're going to connect it, and we're going to keep bringing it down. I want to bring it down like at least maybe one more, right about there. And I think that will do it. But if we need to, we can bring it out some more. So let's see here. I'll bring it down a little further. This is a little difficult right here because it's hard to see where it's actually connecting right there. We'll move it up a little bit. All right. That should do the job. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece right here, select it, we're going to rotate it, make sure your angle snap is on. We're going to rotate it that direction, we're going to bring it up, and all the way up to the edge, right there. And see where it's sticking out over there? We don't want that, so we're going to move it back a little bit. And what we're doing is we're filling in these gaps right here. So this should work. And then we're going to select the next smallest flat piece. We're going to bring that over. It's right about there. Bring it up. And fill in the gap. Next smallest piece. Bring it over to there. Move it up. and move it up again because we're really actually going to need that. So, alright, next smallest piece, bring that over, put it right on the edge, one more, and yes, this is going to be a lot of pieces to build this, so hopefully you guys are okay with that. Alright, so this next little piece right here, I don't know about putting those in there like that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to rotate it all the way around so it's facing the other direction. And we're going to move that over there like that. And then we're going to take this and move it over here like that. Alright, so now you can see we have all of these pieces, well, except for right here. All of these pieces are in there, so we're going to grab this big triangle right here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to make it sure that it's facing the opposite direction. We're going to move it over. We're going to fit it in there. And there you have it. Alright, so like I said, now if everything worked the way I wanted it to, and the world grid doesn't mess up, and the advanced move tool doesn't mess up, what we're going to do is we're going to control, and we're not control, but we're going to take and drag our mouse all the way down and select all of this. And this is going to be the moment of truth. So we're going to unselect all the grid pieces. So these bars right here, these are on the grid. We don't want those, and we don't want this roof piece right here either. All we want is the basic shapes that we put down. Right? Okay. Now, I'm going to hit Control and X, and as you can see, exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. Exactly what I thought. So even though we're on the world grid, see, I don't understand why why Frontier can't fix this. This is ridiculous. I was on the world grid, but yet now it's not, and that's going to cause a problem. So what we're going to have to do is now we're going to have to select everything. Right, and we are going to have to duplicate it all the way around, like so. What a mess. What a mess indeed. Alright, so we don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that. We're going to have to build, we're going to have to duplicate exactly what we did on this side, all the way on this side now. I know what you're thinking. Do we really have to? Yeah, we do. We really do. Okay, so we want to make sure that that's lined up. Or at least close to lined up, anyway. Alright, and then we're going to... For some odd reason, it didn't grab all the pieces, I don't think, on that one side. That's kind of odd. Oh, that was already where I wanted it. Okay, that's fine. Bring it down to the edge. Alright, and like I said, we're just going to duplicate everything I did on this side over here. So I'm just going to jump ahead here and jump into the next section, okay? So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so now we have our shape that we want right there, right? Okay. So we don't need any of this stuff back here now. So we're just going to select all of that and delete it so that we only have this one side. Alright, and then with that, what we are going to do now is going to, I think, let's see. It's almost where we want it. So we're going to go over here to buildings and go down to these, and we're going to go to columns. Now we want to go all the way down here to these right here, the thick wooden beams. And feel free to grab the 4-meter one here. And put it in the world map there. Okay, so we're going to don't make sure you don't line it up with that, because if you do, you're going to get it messed up. But if we're on the world grid, it should be exactly where we want it. We're going to rotate it. Make sure you still got your angle snap on, just like that. We're going to move it up, and we are going to line this up with the top of the roof right there. And this is going to be the piece that hides our little mistakes and stuff, basically. So you want to get it right about in the center of everything. That'll probably work right there. Alright, which means we no longer need these guide pieces. So we can delete these. We're going to make that the same color, which should be easy because we can just select that because it's the last color we use. And we're going to take that and we're just going to run these up the spine of our roof. And when you get right about here is where it's going to be a little tricky, but we should be fine. Alright, I'm going to select what I'm going to personally do. And you don't have to do this, but just to make it look a little better, I'm going to grab the pieces we just placed, and I'm going to raise them up a little bit. Just right to the very edge of that. There we go. So now you see it hides the edges there. And that's what we want. Now, does it look messy on the bottom? Yeah, it does. But it looks great up here on top. And that's what we're looking for. Alright, so now we have this Death Star looking roof, right? We're going to take it, we're going to move it over here. We're going to line it up with our station. And it's going to be difficult to get it lined up if you're not already working. If you're working off grid, it's going to be a huge hassle. And it doesn't have to be straight on that because we're actually going to move it. What I want is for these things right here to hang off the edge a little bit over top of where we have it. See right where that is right there? So we actually, looks like at this point, need to do this. We need to select the building again. And I'm going to bring this down one more. Like so. What I'm actually going to do is move this all the way over to here. And this way we're lined up completely right there. We can make this a little easier, actually. Let's grab this roof piece. And let's actually put it on a grid. So let's take this down to half again. Yeah, actually this is going to work out great. So right there where our grid piece is, duplicate that, move that over so that it's lined up right there. Grab this piece, move it over to right on the edge where it's right there. Right? Okay. And then grab this piece and make sure that piece is lined up. And then make sure it's lined up right here too. And I think, from what I can see, that's going to give me the overhang that I want right there perfectly. Yep, that looks great. Okay, so now we're just going to do this. To cover up the space in that hole right there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side real quick. Line it up, bring it down. Perfect. Alright, and we don't need these roof pieces. So let's go ahead and delete those. If you can't see the other one and can't get to it, just remember this little trick right here. Select the piece that's covering what you want. Delete it. Select the piece you want to delete underneath of it, right? Once you have that piece selected, don't do anything else, just hit undo. It puts the other piece back, but you still have the other piece selected. And delete. Alright, okay. That looks pretty good right there. So, at this point, what I want is a flat spot right there. So I'm going to grab this. We're going to bring this down to here. And duplicate it and bring it down flat against that. And do the same thing on the other side. And that should be, as long as you've got everything matched up right there. You can take this right here. Move it right in the middle. Alright, and remember, we don't want to put this one over here. We want this piece to be right on the edge, definitely from there. And I'll show you why in just a second. So take another piece and you can put it in there. Alright, so now that we have that done, now what we're going to do is this right here. We are going to select everything except this. We don't want those pieces right there, nor do we want that right there either. And what we're going to do is we're going to tilt this. Now, how much you tilt it, that's completely up to you. I would not go 30 degrees. I would not do that. I probably wouldn't even do 15 degrees. What you want is you want to take your angle snap off and just kind of adjust it just a little bit and then move it up so that those pieces are kind of matching right there. And you see how we have this little kind of a tilted on the roof right there? I actually like that quite a bit. So now that we have that, we're going to grab all of this stuff, the whole enchilada. And you see how what it just did? It is off the world grid now. So, but it should be fine. Make sure your angle snap is on. Bring it around. Line it up. That should be right. And then we're going to have to mess with this one, but we're going to have to line it up. So that's what we want to do. Luckily, it shouldn't be too hard to do. And you can adjust this however you want. Just depends on what size you want these to be. You can make this come out further, like that. I think that's what I'm going to do here. It's not perfect. We're going to turn angle snap off. I'm going to rotate this around a little bit because I feel like that's the problem. I feel like it's not lining up because you're off the grid, which is Frontier's fault, and then we'll fix it. and I'm going to rant, I'm going to complain because they won't fix it. All right. Okay, so now there you have it. Now we have this really cool looking roof, right? Okay. And it's all, should be all one piece too. So if we take it off and we just have one building and total objects, you should have somewhere around 110 objects. And now you can move it kind of wherever you want it. Line it up with your building, do whatever you want to do. I actually like this quite a bit. Yeah, okay, so figure out about the height you want it. What most people do is they use the archer to kind of get a height. I'm just going to put that right in the middle right there. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now let's move on to the next step, which is and this may seem strange to you guys, and I completely understand if it does, but we are going to, first I'm going to match this up so that that is right on the edge, because that's going to bug me if I don't. I'm just more of a perfectionist. Alright, anyway. Okay, so this next section, we're going to grab, and we have to do this. Unfortunately, this is piece by piece, and this is only if you want to do this. I'm just going to, at this point, just show you what I'm doing to create my vision of this station. So I'm going to double this. I'm going to take that piece right there, I'm going to move it down, and I have to do one at a time. I can't do them all at the same time. It just doesn't work. So you have to do one at a time. It does seem time consuming, but it's not as time consuming as you think. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this all the way around on the edges and stuff. So again, this is, you don't have to do this. I've showed you how to make this shape already. So that part is over. Now it's just going into my build and showing you how I do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip ahead to where I've already got this done, and then I can show you why I'm doing this. Alright guys, so now that I have all these pieces doubled on the edges, what I'm going to do is we're going to make neon on the edge of the roof. And how we're going to do that is we're going to go into scenery, and what you want is the colored panel. So if you just type in panel, they should come up. And we want the 2 meter by 4 meter piece. That's probably about the smallest we're going to go. Line it up right there on top of that. Turn it at an angle. Make sure angle snap is on so that you get it lined up perfectly. Bring it down to right in there. Have it come right on the edge. Not too much, just a little bit there. And see how that is kind of sticking out on the edge a little bit there? So what we're going to do is we're going to line the edges of that. And I'm actually going to use 2 of these. I'm going to do another one. Another line like that. And I personally am going to paint it a different color. I'm going to go with kind of a neon pink, actually. I kind of almost want a purple. If we get a dark purple, that would be kind of awesome, like that. Yeah, see how good that looks? Alright, and we're going to move this one over here like that. And I'm going to do the same thing up on the edges of these as well. All the way up around. And I'm going to show you real quick what this is going to look like and why I'm doing it. So we're going to go to dark. Look at that. The colored panels kind of have a neon look to them. They don't really have much of a glow, but that hot, not colored texture is just, it shines out like that. So it's really cool. And you can get a neon texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them all the way up and line the edges with them. And that's why I doubled these things down, is so I could do 2 of these. You can just do 1 if you want. You don't have to double them down. But for me, I'm a little more detailed, so I'm going to do that. So I will be right back once I get this done. Alright guys, I'm back, and as you can see, I've got my neon all the way around the edge of our building. Now, one thing I want to point out is once you start putting these up through there and you're using that 2 meter by 4 meter piece, you can only go so far up before you're going to run out of room and it starts poking through the other side. So you want to go down to the smallest rectangle piece, the smallest color panel, which is 1 meter by 1 meter. And you're still not going to be able to get all the way to the top because it's going to poke through. So you got to be careful of that and make sure you're looking on the other side and stuff too. See how that one's poking out just a little bit right there? I'm just going to fix that real quick. Just going to move it down just slightly. There we go. And there we have our neon. And it glows just like neon does. And you can choose whatever colors or whatever you want for that. But I like these. I like using 2 different, like basically bulbs. And it really puts off kind of a cool effect. So, alright, let's move on to the next step. Alright, so my next step here in creating my station is going to be this. I'm going to go back to the station again. We're going to select the grid, start building on station grid, right there. That way we're on that. And we're going to go to buildings, walls. Now for mine, you can use whatever you want, but I'm going to use smooth concrete. It should come up here any second. There we go. Alright. And you'll notice it's already on the station's grid. So that actually works really good for me because that's about where I want that. And we're going to go all the way down. We're just going to basically line the building with this until we get to those edges. Now, on these edges, here's what we're going to do. We're going to let's see, we're going to do this actually. We're going to take that and we're going to move it up until it's right there against, right about there. That looks pretty good. So put it to where it's almost at the railings there, or if you're not using railings, to right underneath of that is fine. Something like that. Make it, you don't want it to cover the whole thing, but just a little bit. And we are going to do this now. We're going to go back into the building. I'm going to select it. We're going back. We're going to grab this piece right here. See that? All right. And make sure your levels, your grid height is as less as possible, because we're going to adjust this until it's not quite going into the car, but we want it kind of right at the bottom of it. Probably go down one more, just like that. And for some odd reason it moved down on me. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. Right? Okay. Duplicate that piece right there and then go around the edges once again. And you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side too. So you're going to have these pieces over there. Now if you really want to, you can take, I do this, you don't have to, but since my station is raised up a little bit, I'm going to put these pieces to match the bottom. Like so. Alright, now the stairways. The stairways are fun. Okay, so we're going to use 1 meter sloped smooth concrete on these right here. We want our grid size to be as small as possible. And you're going to go and find right about where it equals Now this might be different depending on where your actual pieces are. But we're going to go right against the edge. See how that's almost connected right there? I like that. And then we're going to just follow the stair line or the ramp line up to it. Like so. Until we get to this, and then we're going to use one of the bigger pieces again right there to make it smooth. Grab that, duplicate it, turn it around. Follow it down. To there. Alright, and then we're just going to cover these pieces up. Now you can do this any way you want. I'm going to take the quick route and just use the big 4-meter piece to cover all of these up. You can use 1-meter pieces, 2-meter pieces, whatever you want to do there. But I'm going to do this way. And then I'm going to select all of these pieces. Like so. And we're going to hit this button right here, which is split selection from building. And it makes it its own building. Never be afraid to do that, because it is a great way to get exactly what you want. And we're going to move that up to right about where we want it to. And you'll notice now we have to deal with these things down here again, but that's not going to be a problem. Our grid height's off, so we're going to have to adjust that, but it's fine. Now, notice how it sticks out into the path over here on this side, but we got a little bit of space over here. If you grab this, we can actually move that over to right where we want it. And that's why I like to have that as a separate building, is because we can just move it where we want it. Completely up to you how you want to do it though, but I'm going to do it that way. Now, for our next thing that we're going to do here to make our station building is going to be, we're going to go back into buildings. We're going to go to frames or columns, and we're going to find that wooden beam again. That smooth wooden beam. We're going to take that. We're going to put it up on top right here. And we're going to line this up. We want to make sure it's this way, just like that. Move it over. Yeah, that's decent right there. We want a little bit of an edge on the outside. The inside doesn't matter as much, but we want an inside edge. Move it up to right about where it's sitting on top of it. Do the same thing over here. And then we are going to do this. Now this is particular right here. So I've noticed that it doesn't always line up just right, even though it should. Also, you can choose your colors before you start doing any of this if you would like. You'll notice I have not. Alright, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to start framing my sections right here. The stairways, everything else like that, until we get to the next section. So once we get that done, then I'm going to do a little bit of work with the Alright guys, welcome back, and I've went a little bit further than probably what I should have, but the video was getting to be a little long, so I just went ahead and finished up some things. So what we were last working on is, like I said, you're going to line these things any way you want. And how I did them is I did them in layers. So we have like this purple, and then like a blue, and then another purple down here, and I really think that makes it stand out. And then over here on these edges, I went with orange, and then I put another blue one right underneath of it. Now this is turned. Yeah, come here. All right, so that's turned that way, right? And then these down here on the bottom are turned like that. And then I went around. And that's how, you'll notice when we put these over here earlier, notice there was a gap right there. So I used these to fix that gap that's in there. And that's how we did that. Now, the supports holding up the roof, those you just kind of have to line up yourself and just kind of figure out what works best for you. I did these ways, and what I used for these are actually the coaster supports, the one large 4 meters. The new coaster supports are found in buildings. Go to walls, down here under framework. And it's this right here, the second one over, custom support, one large 4 meter piece. And I decided to paint those in gray. Now, I also went a few more steps further, and I went ahead and added the planters down here. And these little things right here, these are actually the topiaries, but I kind of sunk them down into the ground a little bit, like so. And a little bit of bushes, and then I put the planters in the middle of this to kind of fill in this area. My next thing that I'll probably be doing is doing some signage work and stuff like that. What I'd like to do is a custom sign down through here, but I'm not going to have time, so I think I'm just going to come up with something for now and see if I like it and see how it works. And we might come back and maybe do a custom sign at a later date. But let's go ahead and work on that real quick, and I will be right back with the final look of the station and how everything is going to turn out. So one moment. Alright guys, welcome back, and here is the finished station with our finished sign. Like I said, I wanted to do a custom sign, but I don't have enough time and things to work on that right now, so I kind of threw this together. The colors, they're alright. I mean, I'm not 100% happy with these, but I think it kind of works for now. You'll see it's kind of sitting on top of a planter. One thing I haven't done yet is I haven't put any kind of framework holding the sign up yet, but I will probably do that. I'll probably move the whole sign forward a little bit, put some framework on the back of it so it looks like it's holding the sign up, some posts or something just kind of holding it up. And that, I also did some trees and some other stuff right around the area over here. And probably what we'll also do is we'll add some shops and some stuff down through this little area down through here, and that may be the next episode of this. But we are getting close to being finished with the whole park. This was the last coaster for Crystal Gardens. I said I wouldn't even do any more coasters, and then I ended up doing this one, but this is definitely the last coaster for Crystal Gardens. We won't be doing any more after this one. It needed something to kind of go in there. So as you can see, I definitely gave it, I feel the station has a very 90s look to it. It definitely has that Magnum XL, Gemini, Iron Dragon kind of feel like Cedar Point has, and you know, it's fancy, it's not too fancy, it's also a little jank. And I feel it fits perfectly into what we want. So that's going to be it for this episode. I'm so glad you guys watched it. I hope you enjoyed this format. If there's anything else that I've built in the past that you guys would like to see more in depth on how I did it, let me know in the comments below. Maybe this could become a series or something. I won't do all of my videos this way, but let me know if you guys liked this format for the video more so than in any of my other ones, and we'll see if we can't kind of go that route. It's kind of hard for me to do this. A lot of times I build while I'm streaming, so I end up having to do time lapses and stuff and kind of work that way. So yeah, that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out of here. Later. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the video. I very much appreciate it. If you are not already a subscriber here on the channel and you'd like to be, click that button down below to do so, and click the bell to be notified the next time a video goes live, as I have been doing daily content here on the channel. You can also follow me over on Twitter, and I live stream on twitch.tv as well. So if you like the content you see here, you will love the live streaming too. The links for those are in the video description down below. Now, if you are in a position to do so and you would like to support the channel, you can do that through our Patreon page, or you can use one of our affiliate links, such as Greenman Gaming, Humble Bundle, or Amazon. Any purchase you make by clicking on our links, a little percentage of that goes to me to help towards living expenses, as well as making the content better here on the channel. Now, as always, I love to hear from you guys, so make sure you click that like button and leave comments below to let me know your thoughts on the videos. That's going to do it for me today. Remember, guys, wherever you guys are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. See you later.